Welcome to Pario magazine, where I chat with individuals who have a desire to create. As we head into a huge week for Queensland wrestling, there was only one man that we needed to talk to, as he will undoubtedly have a big role in this weekend's Pro Wrestling League and Renegades of Wrestling Australian Super Show. Welcome to Pario magazine, the current reigning and defending Pro Wrestling League heavyweight champion, Ricky Utomi.
How you doing?
Good, thanks. How about yourself?
Yeah, good. Sorry about the audio quality if it's a bit shite. It's raining and storming here in Brisbane.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. It's actually hot down here. We swapped.
Okay, great.
So we're here today to chat about your journey through the world of pro wrestling and looking forward to the Australian Wrestling Super Show on Friday, February 14th at Eaton's Hill Hotel. Before we dive into all of that, do you want to give our audience a little intro as to who Ricky Utomi is away from the ring?
Sure. Okay, my name is Ricky Utomi, current Pro Wrestling League champion, as Jamie said. I have been wrestling for, I want to say, it's my 11th year.
Yep. Next year will be 12.
Next year will be 12. I started in Brisbane. I've been fortunate enough to wrestle all over Australia. I've done New South Wales, Victoria, South Australia, Tasmania, still no WA or Northern Territory or ACT. I've been fortunate enough to travel all over the country. I've done a couple of years stint in the United Kingdom. I lived there for a little bit. I've wrestled in Germany, Malaysia, done a little bit in the US. I've been very, very lucky to do what I've done. I've definitely surpassed any of my expectations when I started doing professional wrestling.
Brilliant. And sort of how did the whole passion and sort of how did you discover wrestling to begin with, to kick off this 12-year career?
Yeah, so when I was younger, my parents could never afford Foxtel. So I guess our introduction to professional wrestling was going to Video Easy, and we'd see the wrestling pay-per-views in random order on VHS next to like the Nintendo section. And me and my brother used to just rent all the VHSs as much as we could, like every week. But I guess because we watched it on VHS, we never really understood the timelines. So it would just be like a random match like every week that we'd hire the video. And that was like our introduction. It was like going and getting a video game and a wrestling VHS, which is really cool. And really, I feel really old to say that as well. And then from there, I was just obsessed with wrestling. I got a job when I was 14, 15, and I finally just said to my parents, I could afford it now because I wasn't paying any other expenses at the time as a teenager. Then I paid for Foxtel myself. I was able to finally watch Raw and SmackDown on a weekly basis. And then from there, my obsession got larger and larger. I can remember being at school and never thinking about anything else. I think any other normal person was thinking about the next step of education in high school, and especially as an Asian person, I guess especially was academics. But mine, all I could think about was pro wrestling. And then finally, I went to an independent show in Brisbane. The first show that I watched the main event was Scrap Daddy Adam Pearce and Jesse Daniels against Colt Cabana and Zero. Which was amazing. It was like north side of Brisbane. I've never seen any independent wrestling before. I watched it and I was amazed. If anything, I thought, man, I could do this, surely. So I spoke to the promoter at the time, which was Mason Charles, and I asked him, I'm like, how do I get into this? He told me the information about the school, and then, I went from there.
Brilliant. So it sounds like you were maybe more interested in the physical performance aspect rather than the storylines, if your initial introduction was hodgepodge random pay-per-views
I
here and there?
guess I guess so. So that's a great question because I've always thought about this. Because wrestling is so diverse, right? It's such a diverse art form. I think I like to think I cared about the wrestling, but the wrestling is very much a part of the storyline, right? So
Mhm.
um, I would like to think that I did get attracted to like the athleticism and stuff like that, but I'd be lying. It was probably just a drama and story out of anything else, just like watching a movie or a cartoon or an anime at the time. But now doing the profession, definitely I'm a lot more attracted to like the wrestling and the working of it and the ins and outs of it. Um, but I think it's very important. I teach like the younger guys, like the wrestling and stuff is very very important. But it's like the showmanship, the acting. That's very 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 much an integral part of wrestling, and I think we lose that a little bit. And I mean it depends on your taste and stuff like that. But I still think when you start wrestling out of school, you kind of just learn like the basic holds and the structure of a match. But sometimes you lose a little bit of the essence, so that makes it truly the art.
Yep. Yeah, it's all well and good to be the greatest technical wrestler in the world. If it's not connecting with that person sitting in the
That's
front
right.
row, how's it going to connect with the
Yeah.
person sitting in the fifth, sixth row?
Yeah. Precisely. Yep. Yep. Exactly.
So then a lot of people have maybe previously known you as Rufio. Can you
hmm
sort of talk to us about the reasoning and the process behind the reinvention as Ricky Utomi?
Yeah, sure. So I've been Rufio for like 10 years now, and uh, to me, wrestling is about change. It's very, very, very important to just be different all the time. And to me, it just got a little bit old. Um, Rufio got a bit boring, and I think I felt a bit disconnected with the character and the persona. The whole reason why I chose Rufio initially as my first character was I remember was it Daniel Bryan's book, and he mentioned something about was speaking to William Regal about having a name that was easy to chant when he was
Hmm.
figuring out how to change from Bryan Danielson,
Yep.
and I think it was Regal's idea, right? That had the Daniel Bryan those syllables to chant. I was like,
Yep.
okay, well, that's really, really important, being a chantable name. So I guess I watched Hook not too long ago. It was one of my favorite films of all time, and it's literally in the film Rufio Rufio, and his character and his persona, I guess I thought I really had a connection with as well, being an Asian person, being of Indonesian descent. So I basically just stole it. I'll see how far it could go. It could take me, and I guess it took me this far, which I'm very very happy and proud of. But I think it was time to change, to do something different. Ricky Utomi. Utomi is my mother's maiden name, so I took that last name, and I still think it's a chantable last name. Utomi, or Ricky Utomi. And yeah, that's pretty much the progression. I want to try something new, try something different, which I think I have.
Has that been like a really exciting process for you to just totally start fresh, clean slate? I don't have to try and link this all back and have a reasoning behind it. It's all just let's start fresh and see where we go. And you can pull in inspiration from all different places.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think the cool thing about wrestling is you don't actually always have to have it sorted 100% all the time. And that's something that I'm still trying to learn. I can just try something new, just throw something at the wall and see if it sticks, essentially. And I think that's what's happened here. I wasn't sure until I did it, until I just said to myself, well, I'm just going to try it and see what happens. And that's exactly what's happened. And I think that's a lot of things to do with wrestling. It's so unpredictable, right? You don't know what sticks and you don't know what doesn't. There's been probably a lot more times where I've tried something and it doesn't work, but I guess
Mhm.
that's the process of creativity.
And did you sort of look like reinvention has been a pretty big thing in wrestling? Did you look to anybody internationally as sort of inspiration and okay, this is how I can maybe do the reinvention?
I guess not exactly internationally. I think just in general, I guess maybe a big inspiration is Chris Jericho. He's never been the same person for too long, and he's always attributed his creativity to I think it was Madonna.
Yep.
So I guess it's not really one. I guess it's art in general, right? I think it's really important as well to not just inspire yourself as a wrestler from other wrestlers, but from all art forms. And I think that's what creates the best wrestling when your inspiration doesn't come from just wrestling, this comes from everything. So
Yep.
I guess to answer your question, yeah, I was able to take inspiration from a little bit of everyone.
Brilliant. So then, obviously, with this new reinvigorated passion and excitement for wrestling, it leads us into a very exciting period for Queensland wrestling with AEW coming to Brisbane for Grand Slam in early
Yep,
February. How
yep,
special is
awesome.
it to have an event like that in Queensland?
Oh, it's huge. It's incredibly exciting. Especially not just to have it in Australia, to have it in Brisbane, to have it in Queensland. It's huge. I think we're very, very fortunate, the Queensland wrestling scene, to have something to our doorstep. For the longest time that I've been wrestling, you had to travel to make any other opportunity, and you still do. So to have something that's come to us finally, it's huge. I hope it opens a lot of doors for a lot of people, and I hope a lot of the wrestlers take advantage of this opportunity. And yeah, I can't wait to see it all come down between all the independent stuff and the AEW stuff. I'm very, very excited.
And as like a leader of Queensland wrestling, how special has it been to sort of build Queensland wrestling back up and get it to this point where a big show like this can come in and you can have all of these independent shows running around it.
Hmm.
And a lot of those shows can just be filled out by Queensland talent. You don't necessarily have to fly in the guys from South Australia, Victoria, New
Yeah,
South Wales.
yeah. Oh, it's so awesome, man. Like, uh, past couple of months, I've been trying to really instill it into, especially my guys at 3 Count, that it's really, really important that we get to work. These past couple of months are going to be like, we're probably one of the most important training times of our lives at this point, right? Um, Wrestling with these, or how it comes is, you can't ever wait for an opportunity. You have to take it. And I think that that's the same with life in general, right? You should never wait for an opportunity. You're either prepared or you're not. So the best thing to do is just always be prepared. And if there's any bit of opportunity, take it. If there isn't, make one. But I can't express how fortunate and lucky we are that something like this AEW is coming to Brisbane. But I really think, I'm very, very excited to see all the Queensland guys show out during this weekend. I think we have a lot to prove, not just to Queensland, to Australia, to the whole wrestling scene, man. Like, Australia, in the grand scheme of things, it's such a small scene.
Mhm.
Like, in the world, like, no one really thinks of Australian wrestling by like a couple of promotions. So this is like a huge opportunity for us as Queensland wrestlers to make a mark on the world scene. And yeah, man, I'm so excited.
Yeah, you never know what eyes are going to be on sort of these independent shows that are
Yeah,
satellite
man.
shows as well. Like we
Hmm.
saw
Hmm.
when WWE and Elimination Chamber came to Perth, Delta got signed from that
Yeah,
opportunity. So like
awesome.
anybody from Queensland could be the next person that gets picked up.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I don't like, you know, another thing that I want to stress to our guys is like, this isn't exactly, it doesn't have to be like the meal ticket, right? This isn't the one be all end all. But I just want everyone to understand like how important it is still. So even if it doesn't, uh, even if nothing happens from it straight away, that's okay. But at least it
Mhm.
gets our foot in the door. And that's all we need. It's that one little bit of opportunity. That's all we need. We'll do the rest. We're happy to do the rest. We'll put the fucking work in. But we just need that one little foot in the door, and that's all we need.
Yep. Yeah, like even if you don't get signed, you might be on the radar and then they're going to be keeping an eye on you
That's
moving
it, man.
forward.
That's it. Yep.
Um, but before we get to Grand Slam on the Saturday, there's also an event that I think I'm maybe more excited for, the Pro Wrestling League Renegades of Wrestling Australian Super Show.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yep.
as the Pro Wrestling League champion, how are you feeling ahead of the event?
Yeah, really good. Like I said, I'm really, really excited just to show out. As the Pro Wrestling League champion, I think I have a very, very important role, and that's not lost on me. Uh, I I can't wait to just to show like another thing with the Queensland scene, especially like a lot of our guys work their ass off just to get just a little bit of shine, right? And I think it gets lost in the mix, not just in the world, but in the Australian scene. So I think this is a huge opportunity for everyone, including myself, just to prove that we belong in wrestling in the world scene. It's really, really important to me that when I finish my career, that the scene that I was in gets better, and
Mhm.
that's all I'm really concerned about is not just me, but like Queensland wrestling as a collective, because I really think that we have some fucking awesome wrestlers here, but we don't get the opportunity to show anyone what we do, and I think this Pro Wrestling League Renegades show is like the best opportunity.
Yep. Yeah, I think Coliseum weekend was like the first chance that Queensland really did get to show on that broader Australian scene. And then I think this is going to be that next big opportunity where your guys are going to be front and center. Here we go. Here's what Queensland has to offer.
Yeah, 100%. Yep. That Coliseum was awesome, man. Like, uh, it helped. I think it helped a lot of our guys. Not just obviously, it was really good for them to have the opportunity and myself to have that opportunity. But I think for the guys that weren't able to make it, it was like an eye-opening experience. That, oh wow, actually, some of us can get on these type of shows if we work hard enough.
Mhm.
So if anything, it's I think it's lit a fire on their ass between Coliseum and this AEW stuff and the uh, Pro Wrestling League Renegades Super Show. Like we have so many things to look forward to now. It's awesome.
Yep. Yeah. No rest over the Christmas, New Year holidays for you guys.
Nah, nah, mate. Everyone's gonna be weighing their macros, drinking their protein for Christmas Day. Gonna be
Mhm.
that person on the show.
So, what are your goals for the event in particular? Is there like one particular opponent in Australia that you would like to face off and potentially defend the Pro Wrestling League title against?
Uh, so I guess from a Queensland perspective, there's a couple of guys on my personal radar that I'd like to test out at my caliber. There's Bobby Bishop. Uh, there's Heath Stevens, Robert Pacini, James Yeager, JJ Avery. Um, hell, Raven, Toa. I'd put Genie on that list as well. There's so many guys that I'd like to, and girls that I'd like to wrestle and put my Pro Wrestling League title on the line. Whoever thinks they're good enough, please, please. Uh, but for Pro Wrestling Super Show, I think we have some really cool stuff in store that I can't say yet.
Mhm.
Uh, but uh, any of those guys, any of those guys that are willing to go one on one with me, by all means.
I think I would actually really like to see Eugenie get a shot. Like, I feel like
Dude, it'd be sick.
her
It'd be
last
it'd
six
be, it'd
months
be
have proven
awesome.
that she's earned it.
Yeah, she's been smashing it. Very, very proud of Jeannie. Um, what she's done, not just as a Queensland wrestler, but as a female professional wrestler, I think it's awesome. I'd love to see more intergender stuff in professional wrestling. I'd love to wrestle more females. Um, I think what Charlie Evans is doing in PWA is fucking awesome. What Jessica Troy is doing in PWA is fucking awesome. And big props to Madison Eagles from being one of the pioneers of that type of wrestling, but not just that type of wrestling. In wrestling in general, I like to give props to Madison Eagles because I don't think she gets enough in the
Mhm.
Australian scene. Like she's done so much. A lot of the PWA guys owe a lot to her. I owe a lot to Madison Eagles. She's allowed me to wrestle at PWA for the longest time and early in my career. And she's taught me a lot too. If anything, she's actually probably my dream opponent in all of wrestling. If she's ever up for it, and if I can be so down for that.
Now,
Yeah,
now,
man,
now that would sell some tickets if Madison was willing
dude.
to come out of retirement for
If she's willing to
one
come out
match
of
at the Super
retirement,
Show.
please, Madison Eagles, please. If you're listening, which I know you are, please, please.
Awesome. Alrighty. So, where is the best place for people to support you and track the creative journey heading into 2025?
Instagram. I am at Ricky Utomi. I'm not using Twitter because I think it's a bit of a cesspool at the moment.
That's
I'm
fair
not
enough.
on Facebook. Instagram is the best way to connect with me. Uh, Pro Wrestling League is my home promotion. Pro Wrestling League and Renegade Super Show February 14th. And then there's the AEW show, which I don't need to plug. They've got enough. They've got their own
Yep.
marketing team.
Obviously, the big one, get to the Pro Wrestling League Renegades of Wrestling Super
Yes.
Show. Tickets
Yep.
on our ticks. Probably not many left by the time this episode goes out, but hopefully it'll
All
be
right, get them
nice and sold out,
fast.
and I will see you
Yeah.
there.
Thank you very much.